what we hope is the end of a very, very long drawn out process for USDA funding for the critical access hospital. And the USDA has asked us to have one more open comment period, public comment period. And so we're happy that you are here this evening, and we welcome you to share your comments. We would ask that since there are so many people present, if you would please come up to the microphone, state your name and your affiliation if you have one, and please try to limit your comments to 1 to 2 minutes if at all possible. So, would anybody like to go first? Nobody wants to speak. Come on, don't be shy.
Hi, my name is Albert Summers, Representative Albert Summers, and I've in my capacity as a legislator, I've worked really hard to try to get more money for you folks and to get whatever I can. And I think it's really important that Sublette County have advanced healthcare as much as we can, because we are such a remote area. And so I've been a proponent of the hospital, and I wish you the best of luck. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Summers. And thank you for your support. Joe, come on up.
Joan, excuse me. Joan Mitchell. I was the director of the senior center in Marvelton, Big Piney, for 20 years. And I'm excited for this hospital to come. I'm excited for our healthcare to come to Sublette County. I can't tell you the number of elderly people in Sublette County that have moved from our county to be closer to healthcare, to be closer to hospitals and better healthcare. So I look forward to this hospital and all of the work that you guys have done for the nursing home, the memory care, and the hospitals, so that the senior citizens of Sublette County can stay here and not feel like they need to move to be closer to healthcare.
Thank you, Joan. Oh, Sam Bixler. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. This is Sam Bixler, 39 Sioux Trail, Boulder, Wyoming. I think this community has proven that we support this project by creating the hospital district and increasing taxes, as well as the county subscribing to funding the nursing home portion of the project. So I hope the USDA takes that into consideration.
Thank you very much, Sam. Anyone else?
I'm vertically challenged. I'm Cindy Van, and I don't have really any affiliation with the district or the facilities here. I'm a resident of Cora, Wyoming, retired nurse. But I just want to say I'm 100% supportive of the hospital, have been since the discussion has started. The majority of Sublette County voted 2 years ago, well, 18 months ago, I guess, November of 2020, to create a hospital district. And that was a 1 mil tax increase, which is huge for Sublette County. So I think that there was a resounding support for having a hospital and a new long-term care facility. And I think people are getting tired of waiting for that to occur. Sublette County is geographically the size of Connecticut. And we are the only hospital, we're the only county in the state that does not have a hospital. So I think the needs are great. Besides the mill levy increase, I think the thing the hospital will do for us is elevate care, because the reimbursement will be there. Right now, all we get reimbursed for is a physician's office clinic visit. There is no reimbursement for trauma care, intubation, defibrillation, all the things that happen when you have an emergency. None of that is covered except for an office visit, and that's not fair. It's not fair to the citizens of the county, in my opinion. Once the hospital is built, it better be built. My husband and I will not hesitate in using the services. It's just really critical. I think the hospital is right-sized, it's right time. All the major players as far as I understand, are on board as far as our legislators, the mayors, the Sublette Center Board. Everybody is moving in one direction, and I think it just needs to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Looks like we have some comments up here. I'm not sure who was first. Is that Bettina? Or-
Hello, yes, this is Bettina. Hello,
Bettina.
everyone. This is Bettina Sparrow in Daniel, Wyoming. I live here with my husband. My father passed away 2 years ago at 97. And we have been supportive of the clinic ever since the idea began. We've been through the trials and tribulations, and I'm just so hopeful now that we are on a path. I feel that we're on a really good, strong path. We don't like to have to travel for emergency situations and in ambulances to Jackson or wherever else we have had to travel with my father while he was with us. Knock on wood, Raleigh and I are pretty healthy and we haven't had to do that lately, but I don't want to ever have to do it again. Also, we are looking at future locations, perhaps permanent locations. And primary on our list is healthcare services. And that would be much lower on our list if we knew that Sublette County, Pinedale, had this critical access hospital. It would be a great ease to our mind, and we could start looking at nice places to hunt and fish and wouldn't have to worry about healthcare in those locations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bettina. We appreciate your comments. Looks like we have Mayor Murdoch and Commissioner Noble on Zoom.
Good evening. I'm Murdoch, Mayor of Pinedale. Introduce yourself. Oh, go ahead. Tom Noble. Yeah, we're taking advantage of being in the same room. Really just wanted to make the comment. I think from everybody's perception, we have been very supportive of the hospital, the work that's been done by the district. The town of Pinedale fully supports this. This has been one of our priorities for nearly 6 years that we've worked towards. Very supportive and willing to help wherever we can in the future. I think this is going to make a significant difference for our county, both on the health side and the economy. And I think we're finding a large amount of support from not only the citizens and we saw in the vote, but also from USDA and other locations as well. So all I can say is, the town of Pinedale, and I speak for the town, heartily supports this. All 5 council members have been approving this since the very beginning. So thank you for your hard work. Tom, do you want to?
Hi, how's everybody doing this evening? It's good to see you. I'm Tom Noble, Sublette County Commissioner. I just wanted to show my support for this project, which the commission has already made at least 3 motions in support of this project throughout the years. And we've pledged up to 20 million for the nursing facility. I don't think the commission can show much more support for this project. The community is also showing support through the formation of a hospital district. It's been a complete reset of healthcare in Sublette County. And I think it has a positive future to move us into. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for the time that you have taken to be here this evening. Pete Sherman with the Sublette County Chamber. Pete, you're up.
Hi, thank you. I'm Peter Sherble. I'm representing the Sublette County Chamber of Commerce. I guess back in 2020 with that election, the Chamber of Commerce, or the directors of the Chamber of Commerce supported that hospital mill vote, mainly because of that economic diversity and job creation that this hospital will bring. Our board makeup has changed a little bit since that vote, and as we've discussed in our board meetings, we still have that same support towards the hospital that we had before. Mainly because it does still continue to help serve and that purpose and mission of the Chamber of Commerce, which is to create and foster a sustainable business climate in Sublette County, Wyoming. So as we're excited for the continued discussions and progress that this is making. We're appreciative to the board for the hospital of the transparency that they've provided throughout this process. We appreciate the weekly updates that are made on Facebook, letting us know what's going on, as well as recently that mixer to help us as a community become more familiar with who our providers are, as well as you as the members of the board, and excited for that partnership that we have with the Star Valley Hospital, which is also great because this is new ground, I think, for all of us. So it's great to have a partner along for the ride that's been through a similar process, I think, that we're going through, being a rural area, starting up with a hospital, and they're doing it very successfully on that side of the mountain. So we're just here as the chamber board to continue to show that support for the business growth, economic development that we'll have in Sublette County.
Thank you, Peter. We appreciate your comments. Is that Tammy? Tammy, are you there?
I am. Good evening. I'll try to get here we go. How are you guys?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I feel horrible being the first person to oppose the critical access hospital and the USDA loan. I'm still trying to figure out how we're going to financially support it. And I'm still waiting to hear back from the board. Tanya, you know, I sent an email asking you specifically how we're going to do this when we still have 3 years before we even have a hospital. How financially are we going to be able to support such a thing when we're having a hard time supporting a clinic? So I also want to say, and I've said this to the USDA as well, I don't think we understand the needs of healthcare for our community. And I don't think a CAH addresses those needs. I think we can look at reimbursement in other forms, urgent care, emergency room, contract out with another hospital. I don't necessarily think Sublette County has to be burdened with a critical access hospital and the cost that goes along with it. But I do appreciate the fact that you guys are open to hearing the comments from everyone, those that are in favor of and not so much in favor of. So I appreciate that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. And I must take this opportunity very briefly to apologize. I haven't been able to respond to your email because I actually lost it in a major outage. So I lost about 2 years worth of emails. So my apologies. If you resend it, I'll try to address it as best I can.
Well, I also sent it to the entire board. So I am happy to resend it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any comments at the moment? Yes, Lynn?
Hello, I'm Lynn Bernard, past chair of Sublette Center, resident out in Boulder. And I agree with Representative Summers and Mrs. Van to some extent, of course. My comments are made, although they might sound anti-CAW, they're not. I believe that a CAW is needed in our area, but not to the extent or magnitude of what we're trying to push through at this point in time. And the reason for that, if I could share with you, if I were to invest my money, it would be much more it would be done with much more caution than if I were spending Dr. Burnett's money. You know, I'd be happy to spend his, but in relation to mine and putting that out on the table as a gamble, I'd be more hesitant. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We're spending everyone else's money but our own, except on the tax rolls. And when I look at it, if a business owner were to start a business or want to expand their business, they wouldn't jump in and go whole hog and invest $20 million on a business that they could start and run for $2 million. Most businesses would start at the smaller end of the scale. And then as it became more and more profitable, they would add to it. And back in 2016, when Dr. Kappeman started this, we were talking about doing a small add-on to the existing clinic for $8 million, trying to get it to float, reap the benefits of the Medicare flowback monies, and move forward from there. And as time went on, it grew and grew and grew. And at the end of it, Ms. Warner said at that point in time, the project's too much money, which is comparable to today. We need to revamp it. We need to have community involvement. We need to create a plan and work the plan. And some of those have been done, but we're not able to fully support clinics here today. Pinedale struggles. Marbleton Big Piney really struggles. And what would be great to do with here is to make something viable before we start creating something new. This clinic could be an urgent care. We need to have the 24/7 availability that we talked about several months ago on the healthcare district, which hasn't happened. But we make promises here and it doesn't come to fruition. And then when we start a new project or have development, we need to have a need-based study to say, is it really needed? Or are we only acting on emotion, or we believe we're entitled to have it? There wasn't any public vote on a call for $50 million. We did have a vote, yes, but it was the creation of a hospital district. It had nothing to do with spending something of this dollar amount. The Ide Bailey report, if we go to that, in 2015, it was started and it was completed in 5 months. And it said, this is how it works. The one today took over 2 years. And because of a number of factors, but the bottom line, as a taxpayer, I look at it as someone was pushing and trying to get Ide Bailey to adjust numbers to fit the model that they were trying to get passed. When we look at today's economy, the economy is worse today than it was at 2016. And Lorraine Warner at that point in time said it was too much money. We have less going on today, but we're asking for the same dollar amount. That model doesn't work in my mind. When we look at the CAW, again, going back to the vote, it was only for a hospital district so we could use the assets of the Sublette Center and move forward in using that as collateral for the liability of a CAW. When we take a look at the Sublette Center is composed of 4 cash components: Aspen Grove Apartments, Heritage Apartments, Medicare, and the commissioner's income. Commissioners, it's tax dollars, I get it, is $400,000 a year. Medicare is $300,000. Heritage is $160,000, and Aspen Grove is $280,000. It breaks even today, plus or minus on any given year. If we take any one of those components and remove it from the Sublette Center, it loses money. When we take 2 of them away, we know we're going to lose the commissioner's money. We'll lose one of the Heritage or the Aspen Grove income. The Sublette Center is upside down at the onset. It won't fly. And when that happens, it's going to roll back to us to hopefully be able to afford to pay it on our tax roll. The bottom line is, my last conversation with Lorraine Warner is, and she's a wonderful lady, but this was not acceptable to me. Well, Lynn, if we don't do it today, when you decide to do it 10 years from now, it's going to be $100 million. The bottom line is, if it can't afford it today, you still have to look and say, does it afford it at $100 million 10 years from now? Does it afford it? And it doesn't. The business concept is to start small, make it work and grow into it. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bernard. Are there any other public comments? Yes. Would you mind coming up to the podium, please?
I'll just stand up. 181 rural.
Can you tell everyone who you are, please?
I'm Trina Iden, and I'm definitely against the hospital. But I love Cousin's chocolate, so I love her. 181 rural hospitals have closed since 2005. 9 of them in California, which has a person or two more than us. And since 181 have, and 66 just recently, since 2015. And the Sublette Hospital is to be, as I sent you, Tanya, is to be insolvent, they're predicting by 2026. How would you answer that? How would you answer any of that?
I think we're in a much different situation. Right now, we're very, very reliant upon taxpayer dollars just to stay in the black every year and struggling to do so. My easy answer would be that we are working very hard to complete this project so that we can become self-sufficient and not have to rely so much on taxpayer dollars. That's the easy answer. There's a lot in that, but that's our goal.
I think 181 rural hospitals across America closing would be a huge red flag that this county should go, whoa.
I think there are so many factors involved in that though, Trina. There, so many factors involved in that. How they're managed primarily, I think would be key. And what the economies, the local economies are, and what other healthcare is available and the types of healthcare provided. We are kind of in healthcare desert here. So I think we're comparing apples to oranges. But we are.
I mean, we have a hospital a couple hours away, either way you go, and we have our clinics, although I really wish we did have after hours. And we were promised that just a couple of years ago, that we would have after hours, and we still did not.
But we're working at it daily, and I can continue to promise you that. We'll do our best. We have to take necessary steps, so. But that's one of our primary goals. I can assure you that that is still one of our utmost primary goals. And I think we can all speak to that as a board. Thank you for your comments. Are there any other public comments? Luann?
I'm Luann Height, and I do support this project today. I don't believe this is a frivolous want. I think it's a good critical need. And for me, I say the same thing, and I have said for probably 7 years, and that is emergency services is paramount for Sublette County. And we cannot continue in the type of protocol that we have now that works. We have got to have a critical access hospital, get the risk or the cost-based reimbursement. And I think also that we have to look to the future for, not only our senior citizens who are going to, greatly need this long-term care facility with a memory care unit. Having a CAW in our community will save greatly for our senior community. I work with a lot of senior people, have care to 2 parents, and we were always having to travel. So, and it was 2 critical access hospitals. And so that's a huge, huge need in our senior community also. But for me, in Sublette County, we need this. We need our emergency services. And an urgent care is not what we need in Big Piney, Wyoming. We have got to have emergency services, where we will have an emergency room bath in the future, which I believe that's possible. I think that, right now, there's a lot of unknowns, but I agree with you, Tanya, that it has a lot to do with how something is operated. And we have good people behind us. And I believe that the USDA is a lot smarter people than I am. And so if they say this project is viable, I believe it is viable. And so I absolutely support it. And I think that the majority of the people of Sublette County have supported it. And I think that's what we need to listen to and move on. And I hope that the USDA approval comes quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Luann. Appreciate your comments. Dr. Burnett?
David Burnett, Sublette County Healthcare Hospital District, Sublette County physician for 33 years. I have a lot to say about this topic, and I don't know if I have enough time to say it. I will begin by saying that the process itself in moving towards the creation of a hospital district and a hospital was started many years ago with the intent and purpose of being able to provide improved medical care services in this county. A coalition of people from different aspects, whether it's senior care, whether it's public health, whether it's clinical care or emergency medicine. The journey's been exhausting at times. It's been amazing from the standpoint of the people that have worked together, set aside their differences, and tried to advance the idea moving forward with the primary goal in mind of trying to improve quality of care and health services in this county. What has been said, I'd like to just address a few of those factors. Number one, urgent care, as Luann said, is not an answer because urgent care does not encompass any emergency medicine. It's not the same thing as required provisionally under state law or under the licensure or practice of those people providing the care. Fortunately, Sublette County has been unique enough in that we have had a number of dedicated professionals, medical, nursing, lab, x-ray, et cetera, that have carried that task on for many, many years, wearing the hat of all things that are necessary, whether it be urgent care, emergency care, routine family practice. So this is a tremendous step forward. As far as 181 hospitals across the nation closing, that's a true statement. How many of those are located within 5 or 10 miles of another hospital? I don't know. I don't know that it pertains to us at this moment. Lorraine Werner's comments from 2016 or whenever were totally appropriate at the time and totally changed at this moment in time. At that time, we did not have widespread community support. You did not have the various entities coming together, be it the Sublette Center, the mayors of each town, the commissioners, et cetera. At that time, you didn't have the assets committed on the part of the county commissioners, not the least of which is up to $20 million for a new nursing facility, as well as over $40 million in facilities. The county owns those. They've been willing to donate those. The county has gone above and beyond, in my mind, in terms of putting forth almost $40 million in assets to accomplish this. None of us have a crystal ball. None of us knows what the future holds, but if we don't try, we're not going to have anything. The take-home point in terms of healthcare, and I've been there too many times on the other end of it, if you don't have a hospital designation and you cannot get those reimbursement rates, you can't afford to keep your doors open in practice. Now, will the hospital guarantee us that? No, but it gives us that opportunity to do so. I don't think that it's possible, feasible, or even legal to think that you can have another hospital entity come in and quote, lease or rent one of our buildings to provide hospital care. CMS and the industry does not work that way. You have to be a hospital. So we have to start at that point. I was skeptical of this project. I've looked at it from many different angles. I fully support it now, only because I've exhausted other not only opportunities, but other options moving forward. I'm determined, in my opinion, that this is the only chance we have of moving forward to sustain healthcare in our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Burnett.
I think Ashley Tucker was trying to.
Oh, okay. Ashley, is there an Ashley who has a comment?
Yes, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you for allowing me to speak. I would just like to express my support just as a community member. I experienced an incident several years ago where I had a uterine hemorrhage and was experiencing massive blood loss. And I was given excellent care at the clinic here, but with what we have in place now, they are limited in what they can do because we are not a hospital. They don't have blood. They are not able to give blood. I was unable to get on a life flight very quickly due to weather. So it took about 6 hours from the time the incident began to when they could get me to a hospital to receive blood. And I just feel that the emergency care, even though they do everything that they can here, they are just limited on what they can do. And we need to be considered a hospital and have that designation in order to expand the emergency care that they can provide. And for me and my family, that's something that is very important and that I'm very passionate about trying to ensure that we have for all of our community here. Because that was one incident for me, but who's it going to happen to next time? And what can we do to help ensure the safety of our community members, that we can get them that emergency care when they need it. So I'm very much in support, and just wanted to express that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. We appreciate your comments very much. Is there anyone else on Zoom? Is there anyone else on Zoom who would like to comment? Anyone I've missed?
Connie, can you hear me?
Yes, Mike, we can hear you.
There it is. Sorry, I'm out of my environment in Salt Lake, but
Oh, you're great. We're glad you're here.
I want to express my full support for the hospital. I have been involved in this, as many people know, for over 6 years. I've been a part of the healthcare district in the process of getting it moving on, and was very pleased with the election. I believe the election was a strong indication, not just to create a hospital district, but the need for the hospital district was to be able to fully create the hospital itself. So I think there's a strong support in the county for this. And this thing has been looked at 4 different ways to Sunday, as far as, is it viable? Is it going to make it? USDA has looked at it. We've seen at least three different financial analysis for this, and all of them have indicated, yes, it's going to happen. And I also want to express my appreciation for Star Valley being involved in this. I have talked to Mike Hunsaker about this, and as a matter of fact, I spent several days in the hospital, the Star Valley Hospital, on March 10th, having back surgery. And the staff there was awesome and fully supportive and fully helpful. And it's the kind of staff that we can draw on as far as support and training people to be in the hospital and do the job there as well. So I don't want to take a lot of time, but I've been involved in this. I am vested in this and want to see it go. I'm no longer, well, I'm retired, so to speak, but have had several discussions with many people, and I will continue to be involved in it and do what I can to help. So thank you, Tanya.
Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you popping on tonight. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? One. We're at the point in time where we should probably get on with our normal meeting, but I'd love to give anyone the opportunity who's here and who has anything more to say. So, anyone? I don't see anyone else on Zoom. Am I missing anyone? Okay. Well, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you for coming out this evening, and thank you for all of your comments. That's the great thing about America. Even those who have differing opinions, we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. We know this has been an exhaustive process. Believe me, we are very well aware. And as Dr. Burnett said, we feel like we've exhausted every possible option that is out there. And we do feel very, very confident in moving forward with the plan we have. I personally feel very confident, and as many of you know, I was kind of against this project to begin with, but it has evolved, it has changed. We've looked at every other option that we could possibly feel comfortable with, and nothing seemed to work for us. So I also would like to share that I feel very confident that we have some great leadership with Star Valley Health. They have stepped up, they've been through things that are so similar to what we're going through, the growing pains and the things that we've done. And I feel very confident that they will be able to lead us through this process and everything that it entails. I really am grateful for them, and very confident in their abilities to help us through this. I know that this is a risk, and I know that there are so many people who feel like this isn't something we should be doing, but I truly believe there's no reward without some risk, and we're at the point in time where we have to do something. So that's just personally for me, and I would share, or I would invite any of the members of the board to share thoughts at this time too, if you'd like. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, hard to disagree with what you said, Madam Chair.
Anyone else have anything to say? Okay. Well, we thank you for your time. We will go into our regular meeting. You're more than welcome to stay for this part of the meeting if you'd like. If you don't want to, we understand. They're sometimes long and drawn out too. But we'd love to have you if you'd like to stay. So with that, we will move on to our regular agenda, and thanks again for coming. All right, I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I have to get used to this online agenda now. So bear with me if I keep going back and forth, but has everyone had an opportunity to review the agenda, the material on it? Are there any amendments, changes, requests before we do so? On the second? No?
So moved.
Dave, we're so happy you're here.
Thank you. It's nice to be
So
home.
happy to see your face again, aside from
A
a
little tan.
computer screen.
I worked pretty hard.
Oh, yeah, you gotta brag about that. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we're happy to have you. Dave and Mike, anything that you gentlemen need to add to the agenda? Okay, all right. Well, if there are no amendments, can I get a motion to set the agenda?
So moved. Go
Okay.
ahead, Wendy.
You get it. You've been gone
Motion
for
and a
so
second.
long.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll set the agenda. And the first thing that we have on the agenda is an administrative report. Dave?
Tonight, we're going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to give a recap of everyone's report. But Sharon and Vicky are here. If you have questions for them, you can ask them, okay? I'll start with mine. I want to give an update on Dr. Hasty. He's going to be our new internal medicine physician. He's going to start on June 1. We have his Wyoming license. And so we're progressing through with his background checks and his credentialing. So that's moving ahead. I want to let you guys know that we are looking at the rural health clinic designation for our clinics. We went through one process where they took a real quick look at our revenues, our visits, and it looks like we could improve our Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement significantly. We want to get one more opinion before we jump off the cliff and go for it. We're going to have either DZA or IBALY take a look. We're getting proposals from those guys right now. But I think it's worth it having a second opinion before we jump ahead. But anyways, it looks good so far. I want to let you guys know that it's lab week. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get here, but Sharon and her crew have done a great job. They've done a lot of fun things in the clinic this week. But it's worth noting that the volumes since 2019 till today in both clinics of Marlton and Big Piney have more than doubled. And those guys have really stepped up to the plate. Done a great job. Knock on wood, COVID's going great. Sharon, how many days has it been since we had a positive COVID? 36 days.
Holy smokes, no kidding.
So that's going the direction we want it to go. Want to let everybody know, and I think we talked about it last time, but we're finally fully staffed in nursing. If you have any questions, you can talk to Vicky, but Vicky got creative. We have a paramedic on duty on the weekends now. And so that's doing a couple of different things. It's making our nurses, so they don't have to take weekend call. It's keeping someone in the facility 24/7 on the weekend, which is really helping with service. And so that's going great. Let's see. I want to let you guys know that Carrie and I, we attended the senior center down here. We set up to meet the new director, first of all, at not at Rendezvous Point, but at Marlton Senior Center. And then we set up when we promoted the needs assessment and we handed out our annual report. So we did that this month. I've attended every county commissioner meeting so far. We've been working hard on the transition. And so we've been working on public health building issues. We've been working on how the property is going to be transferred from them to us. We're trying to get our ducks in a row so we're ready when the time comes. All right. Moving on to Bill's report. Bill wanted to let you guys know that he's continuing the ACLS, PALS, and BLS classes. They're going really well. We've got an EMTI class that just has 3 weeks left. And so in other words, we will have a class of intermediates that were basics. And so basically we just continue to educate our EMTs to higher levels. And so that's a great thing. Bill wants everybody to know the weather's changing quickly, to be careful this time of year. Obviously, it can go from rain to snow really fast. We had an EMT ambulance at the state rodeo here down at the state fairgrounds. And I think that's about it for Bill. And I think Bill was on. If you do have a question for Bill, he's on Zoom. This is a nursing report for Vicky. She wanted to let everybody know that Molly Landers and Shelby Street, am I saying that right? Street. Both completed and passed emergency pediatric nurse care course. And we'll continue to work on ER protocols and workflows with Dr. Walls. Okay. Sharon in lab. Again, yeah, it's lab week. And I know Sharon might want to discuss this too. She just wanted to thank her staff. It's a really good chance to do that. They've done a great job through COVID. They've covered extra shifts. They've done everything that we've asked them to do. We also want to let everybody know that the MedTech training that is progressing. St. John's did, they opened their facility up so those guys could go get some training on the blood bank process. And so that's going really well. One of the big projects that Sharon is tapping right now, which I think is really important. Basically what Sharon's doing is she's going through every test that they do. She's comparing the revenue it generates, the quantity of the test. She's going back through and make sure that those tests are financially viable. Are we doing enough of them to have the equipment that it takes to do them? And then we're also looking for ways to maximize reimbursement. All right. Public relations, I think I'm gonna let Carrie take care of that. Is that right?
Sure.
And let's see. Otherwise, I get down to Dr. Burnett's report, and I think I'll just hit the highlights. We wanted to let everybody know that we're improving and increasing our chart review process. And basically, it's a combination of Dr. Burnett and Dr. Wallace, the reviewing charts that come out of the ER and out of the clinic. And then also we have a pipeline to have unbiased looks at our charts from Star Valley and Dr. Kirk down there. And so that's a great process that we've got going. We've also identified the fact that we need a pain coordinator in the clinic. In other words, the opioid rules and regs that the providers have to work under are really strenuous. And so what we've decided is we're going to have a person go through all of those people that we have pain contracts with and review them, make sure they're appropriate, make sure that we're asking all the right questions when they come in for visits. And so that's a change we're making to improve service there. That's it. Let's start from there. Anything else you want to ask?
No, the reports,
You guys have it on our report docs, so you guys can take a look at it as well. Any questions for me, guys? So we'll touch on USDA later.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, Mike.
Can I take 1 minute?
Absolutely. You can take 2.
I felt like since we had a pretty good audience here tonight, which is great because normally it's just Robert with us here. So we're glad to have everyone here tonight. I wanted to just share with the board and with the tonight's audience the significance of the recruitment of an internal medicine physician here for Sublette County. An internal medicine physician, if you're not aware, is someone who does adult medicine. They take care of adults that, well, all adults really, but those who have maybe say diabetes or they have congestive heart failure or other medical needs that generally happen in older Americans and others that are adults. This Dr. Hasty is going to be able to take care of those things for you and take care of your medical needs here locally. And we're excited because he's going to work 5 days a week, which is awesome for a provider. That's really great. So we're gonna have him here in Marbleton, Big Piney, as well as in Pinedale, pretty much on a weekly basis seeing patients. So we're really thrilled about the opportunity to have this type of medicine here in Sublette County. And I think it's a really good thing for the adult population and the senior population specifically to not have to go seek internal medicine outside of the community. So I just wanted to share that with the board, just so you're aware of that. I think that's really a positive thing for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I think it will be a fantastic addition to our service menu. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, thank you very much. Any of the board members have any questions for Dave or Mike or any of the department heads? Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Vicky, when they, like Shelby and Molly, when they go out and do something like they have done, do we reward them anyway?
That is actually one of the job requirements that is written into the job description. ENPC, TNCC, PALS, ACLS, BLS, and ADLS from Mass Payroll are all part of the job description. So they are not rewarded monetarily, but they are always rewarded by me.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Is this new reporting, is this how we're going to do this in the future, or if we won't hear directly from our department heads anymore?
Yeah, we're kind of trying to make that transition. And how it's handled in other hospitals.
We weren't really fast this month, but hopefully we'll have all of the reports in board docs by the Friday before board meeting. And so then you guys have a chance to read the complete reports from the department heads. I'll do the summary, but then you guys, if you have questions after you read the reports, we can deal with the questions during the meeting.
I hate losing direct contact and hearing directly from our key department heads. That's a concern I would express in this, with this approach. It's nice to know, Vicky and, the other important members of our staff, to hear from them directly. So I'm cautious about this approach, I guess, would be my thoughts.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. We'll take that into consideration. And I think the whole process is such, and we're in so many transitions that we can kind of customize it how we want it to be. So it's just a suggestion that was made and we're trying it. But thank you. Any other comments, questions? No? All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Yes, Dr. Burnett.
I'm just going to take a moment to expound on something that Dave said, just because we didn't get our reports in time. You didn't have a chance to get them on board documents. So I'm just going to bring it out for your information. But I think the idea in terms of looking at charts and approaching the subject of pain management, opioid control management, that type of thing, is going to be critical. I think that being able to have a pain coordinator that can review those documents according to set standards that the providers are going to list that are in compliance with what the national standards are in terms of dispensing opioids. It's going to help, number one, it's going to help the providers because it's going to make their job easier in terms of having to review something in a short period of time on a critical problem in our country, in our state, in our county, and that's opioid use. It's also going to help the patients in terms of establishing some consistency so that everybody is set by the same standards so that it applies whether we're looking at, I don't want to get beyond technical terms, but how many equivalents of morphine, et cetera, in terms of what we will handle. But the byproduct, the direct byproduct of that is going to be that it also is going to protect the board from a liability standpoint, because that is already a hot topic issue in terms of opioid deaths, overprescribing, that type of thing. The other thing that we're going to be looking at, we're taking these kind of a step approach. We're going to be approaching IPTs because it's such an important factor to look at. We do have to, as we move down the road to a hospital process, we're going to have to show that we're making the right treatment decisions, standards, checks, whatever, to satisfy CMS. And working with Vicky and all, we're going to be moving forward so that that list becomes more expanded and inclusive as we go on. But those are the top two right now. And I think we've made significant strides, and I very much think the addition of a pain coordinator is going to help providers, it's going to help patients, and it's going to help the district.
Thank you, Dr. Burnett. I'm happy to hear that news too. So great strides. All right, if there are no other comments, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is screen. Executive session, I guess. Can't get out of here. So if the board would approve, we
I'll make a
get a
motion
to move into executive
session.
All right, do we have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll move into a brief executive session. We hope so.
There's people in the back. Just go